You know what day it is? It's Thursday. It's our day. Let me go ahead and put my name up so you know who's talking to you. It's me, Wanda, Black Women Travel. We have a group, Black Women Digital Nomad Entrepreneurs. If you're not a part of it, you should get down with the crew. Nomad Crew. That's where we talk about a lot of really dope stuff, the intersection of being a Black woman, wanting to have or having an online stream of income and travel whatever that means to you, whether you take in a month or you've been at this for some years. We also have a weekly podcast that's not been so weekly lately, but that's my business. The Black Women Travel Podcast, in-depth interviews, nuance, and stories of Black women who might just be like you. You might find a little bit of yourself in each and every one of them. And I hope you do when you listen, which I know you will. We also have a conference and it's annual. And the next one is coming up in October. It's going to be online. The International Black Women Travel Jubilee. If you want to get a taste of what it's like to be in community, if you want to be in the company of people who actually care about what's going on in your life and how to get you from A to B, that's where it happens. I mean, it happens in everything we touch, but everything I touch, but most definitely it happens at the conference. You can catch the replay from December. So that's still available, and you can be added to our private group on Discord so that you can holla at all the other girls who have been also like-minded, trying to make things work in terms of travel and online stream of income and centering wellness at the beginning of that. It should be wellness first, right? Okay. So super excited. We have a guest on today. We have a licensed mental health professional. I'm going to bring her on. Her name is Jalan. She goes by Jay. Her business is Knowledge of Self, and I'll let her tell you about what she focuses on. So let's bring Jay up. Hey, Miss
Hello,
Jay.
everyone. How's it going? Oh, I gotta fix my. All right now. Um, I am multitasking. My name is Jalan Agnew. I'm a licensed clinical social worker, former therapist, current motivational coach, and motivational speaker. I absolutely love travel, and I focus on women, but Black women specifically, and understanding that self-care is not an auxiliary. It's not a plus. It's a part of life. It's one of the things you schedule in the way you schedule anything else. So and just adding travel as a regular part of life. I know so many women who say, I wish I would have went there, and in their 60s and 70s and never have gone the places they want to go because of whatever limitations. So I'm excited to be here today.
Now, so let's talk about practicing and like not practicing in that way and segueing into coaching. So you in your business, you're transforming how you're serving the
Yes.
people you want to serve. Talk about that a little bit, please.
So I've been in the field for 17 years, and I have been a licensed clinical social worker for 10. And it's one of those things of like, I was in a session one day and I told my client, you have permission to pivot. You have permission to shift into something else when what you're doing is no longer kind of sparking that thing for you. And I had to look in the mirror and say, at what point do I acknowledge that it's time for me to shift into something else? I love helping women. I love helping, especially, Black folks, and deal with generational trauma. I also have to acknowledge within myself that my own emotional stuff sometimes is heavy. It's heavy, and I can carry it, but I don't want to, right? And that's what I need Black women to start saying. I can carry it, but I don't want to. Not only do I not want to, I don't have to, right? So it's shifting into something else that can be more compassionate to myself, because at the end of the day, I have to go home and deal what it is that I'm taking in. And 2020 was a tough year, like for health practitioners in general. It was kind of like my accountant said to me, I've never seen anybody's income jump up that quickly. And I said, well, that's because I had more work than I ever had in 2020. People really were struggling. But in the midst of that, my struggle got kind of sideswiped, and I couldn't take care of myself the way I needed to. And I said, in 2022, it's time to do something different.
That is dope. So I love it when the things that we tell other people, the stuff that we know to be true, is integrated into our own lives, right? So,
Mhm.
like,
Mhm.
how much more compassion, how much more power you have in the message that you give, in the spaces that you hold, because of the
Right.
things you're doing for yourself. And I think
Right.
we would all want anybody that we're working with in that type of capacity to have that, right? To have
Right.
capacity.
To have capacity, right, right, and that's
Hmm.
the thing too, is the awareness of the capacity. And I'm a practice as you preach kind of person. So if I'm teaching it and I'm not doing it, I hold myself accountable of, nah, bruh. You know what I'm saying? You don't have no energy at the end of the day, so you can't be teaching women how to self-care and have self-compassion, and you got nothing left to give at the end of the day. It's time for a shift.
That is so, so dope. What has been, or let me be more open ended. Have you found, have you found what has been rewarding about practicing as a therapist versus practicing as a coach?
Um, what I find rewarding in practicing as a therapist is the aha moments, the noticing of the generational stuff, the awareness of, can I curse on here? I'll just say crap.
Mhm.
Holy crap. My grandmother did that, my mother did that, and now I'm doing it, and not even with intention, just because these are some rote, learned behaviors that I have. I love seeing that. I also love seeing Black women come alive, come up out of survival mode, become enamored with what it is they love, get in touch back with their bodies. I absolutely love that part. The piece about coaching that I love is it's like people showing up and being like, what's the action steps? And then they come back the next week and they're like, all right, I took those steps. What's next? It's a different level of motivation in the action step. A lot of therapy is getting
Mm.
ready, getting people ready for action, right? But with
Mm.
coaching, people come, they action, they ready to go. They get there, they like, what we doing today? Let's go. And I'm like, well, damn, can I have my coffee? So, so it's a different kind of energy. Intention is the same.
Mm.
It's the emphasis on which step. That's the difference.
I love that. I love so many pieces of this. Yes. You have a quote on your website. You say, when the universe conspires to tell you no,
Mm.
it's setting you up. Okay, you talking to yourself now. It's
Hello.
setting you up. The call is coming from inside the house. It's setting you up for a larger yes.
Yes.
Congratulations on your no. Congratulations, girl.
Yes, yes, I get excited. And that's one thing I teach too, is like, a door closed. Good. That wasn't your door. Your door can't close. According to the laws of the universe, your doors cannot close. So that wasn't your door. Congratulations. Let's start partying.
Let's party. Don't be tardy to the party either, okay? You got to
Okay?
catch
Because
up.
sometimes you spend a little bit too long being sad that the door didn't open. You miss your own party now.
That's real. That is so real. Just getting caught in like the emotions of what's happening. Like, it's dope to process emotions, right? But it's
Yep.
like sometimes they're a distraction as well, I think,
Oh
because
yeah.
it's just like, well, girl, it's happening. You may know why, you may not know why. You may never, get to
Sometimes
the
it ain't
bottom
your
of it.
business. Sometimes it ain't your I say that all the time. Sometimes it ain't your business.
It's not your business. So did you yourself like go through therapy like
Oh yeah.
before you became a therapist even?
No, so that's a great question. So no, I got a therapist when I was 30 years old. I'm 37 now. So I have been in therapy for a while, and I love my therapist, saved my life. I see her today, and she gave me homework. She told me I got to let go of resentment. I said, ma'am, in 2 weeks? She said, I don't, what's the problem? So I gotta let her. I gotta update her later today about how that went. But I got therapy. I started going when I was 30, so I had already been a therapist for some time, and I knew I wanted to go. It was one of those things of, I knew I wanted to go, but I didn't get in it until then. And my first session, my therapist says to me, "I don't. How you been functioning, ma'am?"
Hmm.
I went to a psychiatrist, and she said, I'm surprised you're still alive. And that hit right, because one of the things about being a black woman is you know how to present, you know how to act as if things are going well, you know. I
Okay,
got
you could put
got my
on.
master, right, got my master's, got my clinical license, I'm working two jobs, I bought a two-family house, you understand, business is happening. So for somebody to say I'm surprised you're still alive, it was a shock to my system of like, well, damn, how much have I been repressing? And that's when the unearthing um of things started, and the unearthing was not cute.
No, it
It
never
was not cute.
is. People be
It
like,
was
go
not
to
cute.
therapy, and I'll be like, be ready to cry. Like it should come
Right.
with the box of tissues. Like, congratulations on your first appointment.
It
Here's
was
your supply of tissues.
it was not cute. It was not cute. I was like, this is too much. And you know, excuse me, it's important to find the right therapist. So the therapist I'm with now is not who I started with. Um, but the therapist I started with was the right therapist at the time I shifted over.
Hmm.
But it was transformational. And I'm so thankful for my therapist, and just being in therapy gives me even more appreciation, because if someone can help me do that, this what I'm doing on Zay. Somebody better give me some award or something, okay? Because listen, changing lives, it's a beautiful, beautiful. And my therapist is a black woman with dreads down her back, and
Okay.
she don't play games with me,
Okay.
and I love it.
Let's talk about that. So help the girls with this therapy bit. So it's like all these directories out there. Black female therapists, what's the other one with the really popular Black girl therapy or something?
But
Don't quote me
hmm
on that one. Don't quote me
but I
on
think
that
it's
one.
something like that. I don't even know, which is sad. All
You
of them.
got the joints for queer folks. You have like
Hmm.
all of these you have other services that are for like low cost or sliding scale, like, so like there's a lot of information out there, but that does not mean that someone is going to know how to peel that onion for you
Right,
specifically.
right.
So do you have like a process or like questions, or like how can the girls who are looking for a therapist find one that can click with them well? And like, they do sometimes like a little 15-minute consult for free or something like that, but like, how are
Yeah,
you supposed to tell in 15 minutes whether or not this person is on or not? You know what I mean?
right, right. I would say, well, first, let me say, now Psychology Today, they have their own issues, and there's a
Mhm.
whole thing about that brand in general. However, it is it's a good first step. You want to go there, you want to put in your location, and you want to put in your insurance. That's going to help you narrow down what it is that you need to see. Now, once you do that, you'll find people's, like a profile, like you would find on a Facebook, and they put a little blurb about who it is that they are, what problems they'll help you with, and what populations they work with. That's a great place to start, because you can already tell from there. You can tell from somebody's blurb. You can tell from, what it is that they put up there. You can start there to see if it's going to be a good match. And then I'd say the next piece is know where your life is falling apart. Know what? Okay, because I hate when people come in, they like, I don't know why I'm here, ma'am. So know where your life is falling apart. Know where you're seeing patterns of things falling apart. Know what you want to work on, so that when you go in, that person could have um a good scope, and also see if they're the one for you. Because some people come to me and I'm like, I can't. I'm a behavioral therapist. I can do trauma, but I don't. That's not my primary mode of therapy.
Modality. Hmm.
Right. So if somebody's looking for, they have patterns of behaviors and trauma, we can do that. But I'm not a trauma therapist, so to speak. So you
Hmm.
want to also know what that person's specialty is. So I'd say do your research, but I also say this, and I know somebody needs to hear this, and I'm gonna get right up in your face. Give yourself a deadline and get a therapist and stop playing, because you've been saying you was going to therapy for about 10 years now. I somebody, yep, you,
She coming for you.
yep.
You
She,
coming for me. She coming for y'all.
Somebody's next. Somebody's
Somebody
next.
say
I'm
yes.
coming for it, cause it's like it's one of those things of like I'm gonna do it. 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 And life is going by, and the biggest thing
Mm.
about therapy, right? Our nervous systems are so they're engaged all the
Flooded.
time. We're not
Yes.
supposed to be in survival mode all the time. And that's why we walk around with illness and mental health issues and spiritual issues and all of those things. We're not supposed to be triggered all the time. So us walking around with our nervous systems on go all the time, you need somebody to help you slow that down. You need somebody to help you unwind because you cannot maintain in that state of being forever.
And some people are addicted to that. I was listening to something today. I don't remember who it was, but they were saying that, some people are addicted to that feeling. It's
Yeah.
when you get to a different place in your body, in your nervous system, and it feels like the shoe is about to drop, like things are going a little too good, like I
Yep.
can't really
Yep.
relax.
Yep.
I find that
Yep.
so interesting.
So your body is not some people. It's your body is addicted to the anxiety, to the high stress, to the feelings that come. Because when the adrenaline rushes, when you have that feeling, because you've had it so much, your body gets addicted to it. So if you're ever in a
Mm,
time of calm or peace in your life, your body's looking around for reasons to create that. It's the same piece of your brain that gets addicted to substances is the same piece of your brain that is addicted to those feelings. So it's not, I
mm,
mean, you can get better on your own, but you're not an addiction specialist, and you don't even
mm,
realize that you have an addiction. You just know, like I have a friend that's like, no, because when I lose the weight, I'm gonna be happy. No, because when I get the car, I'm gonna be happy. No, because when I get the house, I'm gonna be happy. 10 years later, I'm like, yo, what's the problem? And what happens is you I call it destination addiction. Also, you get to a destination, you think that's gonna be the thing. About 10, 15 minutes in, your brain is already like, what's next? That's not ambition, boo. That's not ambition. That's addiction. Hello. See, I don't you
is
like,
is the microphone on? Can you hear me?
are they listening? Are they listening? Because and this is nothing you learn in school. This is nothing anybody's gonna tell you. Specifically, if you're a black woman, this is not something that in your family you've talked about. None of this. So as we're watching the research come out and we're learning all these things about it. It's more and more a issue
Mhm.
of health, not even mental health, of health in general, because we don't realize how closely the mind body spirit system is connected.
So I'm sure you know the book, The Body Keeps the Score.
That's my book. That's my book. Come, hold on one second. Let
Everybody,
me text.
everybody been up in there. I don't even know when that was published, but everybody seems to be about that Body Keeps the Score. Like, if you don't know about Body Keeps the Score, we might have mentioned this last week, and we might mention it in the following weeks. But
Right.
Body Keeps
Right.
the Scores is talking about that mind body connection and how the
It
body,
is.
while your mind is going to, it's really smart, it's very clever, it's going to shut down and it's going to block some things so that you could be in this capitalistic system and like
Yep.
go pay your
Yep.
bills, right?
Yep.
But
Yep.
your body is going to remember every
It sure
single thing
does.
you've been through. So
It
the
sure
triggers
does.
that you don't realize are triggers. You're not
Yep.
connecting it with whatever memory your brain is not letting you have access to.
Yep.
um
It's just like, when you hear a song and you instantly go back to a memory, or when you have a smell and you instantly go back to a memory,
mhm, mhm,
that's all living in your body. So
mhm,
that's a perfect example of how your body keeps score. Your body does not forget. You might forget, but I can put on a song from 1996 and you instantly go back to that memory. That's living in your body. So if music can do that, if smells can do that, it's already in there. And that's another thing too, of your body has a memory of all those things, and you think because you're functioning that you're doing okay, but all you're doing is
mhm,
storing it in the body,
mhm,
and it becomes a health issue.
mhm.
So all that hypertension and diabetes and all the stuff we joke about running in black families, that's your body keeping score. And some of that is what you eat, but some of that is also what you think and feel.
Mm. So the ladies are feeling it. We have Latoya. She's in our Facebook group. She's also a moderator. She also just made her move to Mexico. Latoya got
Oh,
everything
I'm
going
coming.
on.
I'm coming. I'm coming. I'm doing
um,
it.
sh- she said therapy changed her life. Narika said, yes, girl, slow down. Miss Francine, she said, my very first therapist in uni was a godsend. Most of the others since then have been hit or miss, and I just make do
Mm,
with the miss.
yeah.
Talk
Yep.
about that.
Yeah.
Yes, work. So I also want to ask, how else? So you talk on your website, on your about page, you talk about your brain chemistry, and I
Mm,
love how
mm,
you make it
mm.
what it is. You're not
Yep.
personalizing it. So you say your brain chemistry causes you to struggle with depression and anxiety, and I don't know how many generations we are away from that, from the stigmatism around that.
Mm, mm-hmm.
Because I can't remember, because this is just what it is now, and we do this now. We talk about therapy, we talk about depression and anxiety
We
right
talk
now.
about it. Yep.
Right.
Yep.
I don't remember. I'm glad. I'm happy for that for me. I don't remember the time when it was taboo, but talk about how one can manage that. So if we're talking with a specific audience, so either they're wanting to move or they've already moved abroad and maybe they're traveling around a bit, how can they implement some self-care so that the way that their brain works, and this could also
Yeah.
be like for neurodivergent people, like I don't know if you
Yeah.
talk about that much, but
Mm-hmm.
just your brain works differently, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you have different needs. So how can you take care of yourself as it relates to travel
Yeah.
first, and then we're gonna
Well,
tap on some other stuff.
I think the most important piece is some of it you have to have some sense of stability to understand your brain, right? So if you're constantly moving, if you don't have a base, I call it like a base, it's
Mm-hmm.
more difficult to understand what it is that you need. But what I
Mm-hmm.
can say is if you're already moving around, one piece that we don't talk about enough is what you eat. I'm a baby vegetarian. I stopped eating meat a year ago. I am about 4 months off of fish now, and we have to pay attention to what we eat. And I'm not a vegan enthusiast or anything like that, but I am telling you that there are hormones in the meat. There are things they put in the food that impact our brain chemistry as well. So it's watching, paying attention to what you eat. It's paying attention to what you consume also, as far as what are you watching on TV, what are you listening to.
Mm-hmm.
Those things are all very important. You need a spiritual practice. I don't care who, what, where, when, and why you believe in. You could believe in the earth. Well, I mean that the earth is the creator, that is everything, creation is everything. You need a spiritual practice.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. You need a way to ground yourself, so that should go with you everywhere you go. Meditation has been a life changer for me. Learning how to sit in silence with yourself. Yoga is amazing. Dance is
Mm-hmm.
amazing. I was listening to this Jamaican woman, talk about how, for us, dance and music has a spiritual component to it. Whatever it is that you do that grounds you, you need to have a practice where you do that 2 or 3 times a week if you're not doing it every day. So, me, before I was a therapist, I was supposed to be famous on Broadway. That didn't
Okay.
happen. It didn't happen in my life.
Wait, what was
So
she
what I
gonna do? Was she dancing? Was she
we were
singing? What was
we
she
were we
doing?
were singing, we were dancing, we were acting, we were doing all the things. We were
Come
doing
on,
all the
Alvin
things.
Ailey.
Yes, come
Run.
on now, come on. But that didn't happen. So what I do sometimes, and this is, I'll talk a little bit about joy too, is I'll create concerts in my house. I'll throw some music on. I'll have
Okay.
choreography. I will
Okay.
have. At first, I was afraid, I was petrified. All the theatrics, because I understand that singing and dancing is a part of my spiritual practice. So, whatever it is that you do that grounds you, it needs to be a regular part of your life. And also, joy. Black woman joy. I'm gonna do a series about it. All of those things that you did when you were a kid, the writing, the reading, the drawing, the acting, the singing, the being silly, you need to return to that. The inspiration, my dude Wayne Dyer, if you're ever looking for a spiritual guru, Wayne Dyer, he said, when you are inspired, you are in spirit. When you are inspired, you are in spirit. all of those things you did as a kid to bring you joy, that is you being connected to spirit, to your creator. You need to return those into your life, and you need to do those on a regular basis. I don't care how silly it is. Do it.
We talk about that heavy in these streets.
Hmm.
Heavy. Centering your happiness, centering your joy. Maybe not even happiness. That might be a whole other emotion actually. But like
Yeah.
joy, like things that make you feel good, feeling good being the whole point
Yeah.
of the
Yeah.
of this.
If you want a reminder of what joy is, go hang out with some kids. I'm telling you. Go. You ever seen a kid frolic? They ain't thinking about bills. They not thinking about tomorrow. Kids are the greatest example of mindfulness practice.
Come
Go
on,
hang out
frolic.
with some kids. Go frolic.
That is
My godson,
beautiful.
he's 7 and he has locks. I don't know what these might be, baby locks. They might be twists. I don't know what we're doing. But he has locks and he just skips. And when he skips, his hair just goes. And and I'm watching him and I'm like, yo, I'm about to frolic with him, yo. I'm about to frolic. Go frolic.
I heard that. That is hilarious. We got a comment from Facebook. Who said that? Who said that? Who said that? Miss Latoya. She said stability is super important, especially in travel. The go, go, go wears me down. Stillness is what I yearn for.
Yeah.
Um, yes.
I
I
was
got to
on
go
a
see me
flight
some.
the other day. I actually just came back in. I was in Dallas for a week. I came back in yesterday, actually. And while I was on the plane, I threw some meditation music on, and I'm gonna be sitting there for 2, 3 hours anyway. I meditated the whole time,
Three,
and
huh?
sometimes,
Who? 3 hours?
well, well,
3 hours?
I have a crazy meditation practice in the sense of before the world closed down, the last meditation retreat I did was a 7 day silent retreat where we meditated from
Mhm.
like 9 a.m. to like 9 p.m. So like, excuse me. So I get in the zone. And then meditation too is you focusing on one thing. So I was in and out of sleep, which is meditation anyway. But the point in that, if you're physically moving everywhere, that doesn't mean your brain has to be moving too. Throw some meditation music on. If you have a song that greatly grounds you, or a kind of music that grounds you, throw that on as well. I have my notebook and my pen everywhere I go. If I need to sit there and write for a little bit during a layover, I do that. It's having yourself compassion as a practice, and taking it wherever you go, and just realizing like it's not something that you can choose whether or not you're going to engage in. Right? It's not, you don't choose whether or not you attend certain things or meetings or work or whatever. Why are we more invested in working than we are invested in staying healthy? um
Well,
I
we
think
know the
that's a
answer to
huge.
that. That wasn't my idea. This was thrust
Right.
upon me.
Right. That's true. That's true. But it comes from the same motivation center. It comes
Mm,
from the same intention center. Once you shift your intention to make your health as priority as everything else, then it shifts the nature in which you navigate the world.
mm. So
And
I
I'm
think the
sorry,
girl.
I have to run. I know we
Okay.
scheduled to be on a little longer. I apologize. I was not paying attention and I just clicked yes. I apologize, y'all, but this is important to me, and this topic is important to me, and to everyone who is listening. Your self-compassion practice, and I call it a practice because you got to do it, and you got to do it over and over, and you have to commit to it. That's the most important thing. One of my biggest messages, and my message is still changing, and I'm still understanding that, but I understand right now that my biggest message is to remind us that we're humans.
Mm.
Capitalism makes you forget that. Capitalism makes you a number and a productivity. I'm here to say you're a human first. And
So does
once you
systemic
can,
racism.
right, so the whole system itself, it whittles you down to being, just non-existent as far as your importance goes. And my thing is like, you are a human, you're a spiritual being having a human experience, and it's important to remember that all of these constructs and all of these things that we spend so much time with, we don't take any of it with us. And
Mm.
I'm noticing, I'm an observer. I do a lot of watching. That's why I'm a teacher, because I do a lot of watching. I'm observing a lot of end of life happening right now, and I'm observing
Mm.
that all of the things that grandma and great grandma, all of the things they worked so hard for, broke their back for, none of that shit is with them now. They can't take it with them now. All them 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 jobs they had, struggling to get the bills paid now. It is all BS. Take care of yourself, because you are the only thing that you have throughout this whole life experience that we have right now. None of this stuff matters.
Well, thank you so much. I put your website up here a few times, knowledge of
Thank you.
self,
Thank you.
NALEJ of self.com,
Thank you.
for your time. I hope you have a great day.
Thank you. And thank you, everyone. Y'all come on down to my next workshop. It's going to be great. And thank you so much for having me on your show today.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Bye, girl. Thank
Bye.
you. She came through with a word, didn't she? Y'all got to connect with her. I think we were just like Facebook friends, and I noticed she says she's a licensed clinical social worker. Um, so I'll put her website up there again if y'all want. Her name is Jalan Agnew. So like knowledge is Jalan backwards, Jelan. And we had some dope comments, so I wanted to recognize y'all. Um, I wanted her to talk about like probiotics too, because we were talking about eating for whatever you got going on. And I think we kind of know, like, you're supposed to eat more fresh stuff than, fried, boiled, dyed, laid to the side stuff. And I don't know that we've had a lot of conversation about probiotics. Oh, and like vitamins, like folks know about vitamins and like eat more fresh stuff. But like there's other things that you could do to like be friendly towards your gut. Miss Paula is here. Hey, Miss Paula. She said committing to meditation is a struggle for me. I love that there's so many ways to meditate. And it's not necessarily to sit there and try not to think. Like there are moving meditations, and it's just meditation is about being aware in the moment. And I think sitting still and being aware is much more harder than like being in motion. So like you could take a walking meditation and you're just being present. You're just noticing the leaves and what's going on in the street and the cats and like, whatever's happening versus being in your head, which that's where we are most of the time, right? We're thinking about the past, worrying about the future, grieving the past, worrying about the future versus just like being present. You could do it in the shower. Like there's all types of meditations that you could do while you're cooking. Being present with people is also a type of meditation, just like sitting there and absorbing in a way, like what's happening in that moment. Miss Kathy said, yes, we are human. We create because we have been creating. I love that Jalan said that about her grandma and how we can't take these things with us. None of it. And there may be some things we want to leave behind, but like ultimately, like it's up to whoever come after us to do whatever they gonna do. So like that's nice. Especially the money part. I guess that's we just trying to make it easier for the next joint. Um, Also before we had Errol, Miss Errol came through today. She said hanging with her 3-year-old son is her joy, and she's so glad he's around. Well, we glad for both of y'all. We're glad y'all have each other. Thank you for coming through, Miss Errol. Who else is up in here today? Maslow hierarchy of needs is a base. Who said that? I got to be nosy and see who is saying what up and through here. Because y'all didn't do the thing. Hey, Miss Sapphire, you up in here, boo? Oh, Miss Jen. Miss Jen was on last week. Yes, ma'am. Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And then we got Sapphire up in here. Gut health is important. Yes, ma'am. I just got started on vitamins. I really need to figure out probiotics. So there's something called kefir, Kefir. I think some people pronounce it kefir. But it's basically yogurt on steroids. So yogurt has like the good bacteria, but like uh kefir is a million times that apparently. So that's a probiotic. Basically, like sauerkraut, kimchi, fermented things. I want to say pickles, but the pickles are usually brined and not fermented, and it's a different process. So like brined with vinegar versus like, I don't know what things do when they ferment. I think they just like sit there and the things fight each other, or like I don't know what the process is, but like the fermentation process. Wine is fermented, like that should be good, right? I don't think that's how that works, but y'all don't take no advice from me for that stuff, except for what's true. You got to go find out on your own. Um, yes, Kafir. Um, who else? Who else is up in here today? Miss Latoya said that I just got started on probiotics. Fresh food out of America is more easy. You better say that, Miss Paula. You better say that. Eating in season is really interesting. So I think for the first time in my life, that's what I was doing in Albania. So it was like whatever was down at the little store, that's what I would get up. And so like, winter came and they were starting importing stuff like tomatoes and cucumbers. So I was like, well, what do y'all eat? But I guess like you're supposed to you're supposed to like can stuff and jar stuff, and then like you have some winter vegetables um that you can cook, but like the salads I was eating, that changed. So that was interesting. But I think largely a lot of folks, even if it's not necessarily in season like that, a lot of folks do use a lot more fresh. That's culturally relevant as well. Like it depends on the culture, because some cultures they just want to fry everything, child, and they're not really trying to do nothing fresh like that. Yes, ma'am. There are many ways to meditate. Just find you a lane. Guided meditations are a thing as well. Like you just let somebody to talk you through some stuff. We've done some of that stuff together here. Um, my definition of meditation is good. That means I was meditating a lot. Yeah, especially when you're somewhere new. Because you're just trying to soak in. You're like, oh, everything is different. I'm in a new place. What's the air here? What's the soil? What's the water taste like? So yes, sometimes a lot easier to immerse. It's like when you've been somewhere for a while, you start taking everything for granted. You know how it is. Your brain stops picking up on all the new stuff and you just kind of melt into the background. Fermented things are kind of gross. I mean, I don't mind kefir that much. So what I'll do is like I'll make like a little pudding with it, I guess you could call it. I will put in chia seeds in the kefir, and like some cinnamon because that's supposed to be good for you. I told you I just do what I think is supposed to be good. Latoya, so maybe you could juice it up a little bit. The cinnamon is nice in there. We eat some nasty stuff in the name of health. Well, I mean, we eat some nasty stuff anyway. What did I have the other day? And I was just like, it was like some potatoes, like potato wedges. We were just at this place and we were having a drink, and it was like, oh, potato wedges. And I was like, this is delicious. But then like, it's the oil is sitting in there. And I was like, oh, that's not so good after all, actually, to my body right now today. Well, ladies, I am so happy that you all are showing up. I hope you enjoyed the conversation with Jalan. If you have questions for her, if you want to reach out to her, she's no longer a practicing therapist. I believe she kept up her licensing maybe as a licensed clinical social worker, but she is into coaching now. So I will pop her website back up there. Bloop. So knowledgeofself.com. Yeah, holla at her. And remember to center your joy today. Remember to rest today and center your joy. So that's the message. Thank you so much for coming by. Love you to the moon and back. And I will see you out there in the streets. In the internet streets. Y'all be well.